Good morning. This is George Werner. I'm a student in ENH 292 and Burns' adolescent literature class, and this is my first video book talk. My selection today is a work of historical fiction, and it's called Little Big Man, a novel by Thomas Berger. A Little Big Man was a story that was originally written in the late 1950s, early 60s, and is considered what's called a revisionist Western. It means it is a Western novel that is not straightforward. It's not like something from Zane Grey, Louis L'Amour, Riders of the Purple Sage, that sort of thing, where you have the cowboy, the good guy, taking on the bad Indian, and everyone gets what they deserve in the end. No, this is a quite different and satirical take on the Western. This is a novel sort of in the vein of Forrest Gump, where there is a man named Jack Crabb. The story is told from his perspective in flashback. Jack Crabb is 111 years old, living in a rest home, and he recounts this tale to this college biographer of his experiences as a white man who could pass for an Indian and pass for a Cheyenne, member of the Cheyenne tribe, in point of fact. And he was ambushed by the tribe when he was just about 7 years old, and abducted and taken to the tribe along with his sister, who escapes after a few days. But he takes to the tribe. The chief, Old Lodgeskins, adopts him as one of his own, and Jack actually goes into battle with the Cheyenne at certain points by browning his face and getting him making a seamless transition into the tribe. Now, I selected this book because it was an award winner, and it was also a novel that intrigued me for many years, just having viewed the Arthur Penn directed adaptation with Dustin Hoffman as Jack Crabb. Now, this book is, like I said, a revisionist Western, so it falls later in the continuum. The setting is, of course, the American West, mostly around the area of the Little Bighorn, where the climax of the story takes place. That's in southern Montana. But it also has Crabb rove around southern Wyoming and some parts of western Nebraska, and where the Battle of the Washita took place, the terrible Washita massacre conducted by under General George Armstrong Custer, who is the most significant real historical character in the book. That's one of the traits of these revisionist historical fiction novels. There are real characters who interact with the fictional character. Now, the book did not win any awards at the time. The author, Thomas Berger, has won awards over the years, but it has now become to be regarded as a classic and a seminal classic of the revisionist novel genre, subgenre, you might say. And I'd like to think I use this book with adolescent readers, and similar to how my father did when he was when this movie first came out, and he wasn't able to use it until years later. But I've used this before in clips to just show the absurdity of the West, and in particular the absurdity of Manifest Destiny. How Custer was this big bombastic fool aboard a horse, who, when it came time for a Little Bighorn, and when it came time for his armies to defend him, and they broke down, he broke right down with it, and proceeded to rant to a mythical White House and an imaginary president, all the while as all of his men were being wiped out around him. And this is the central image that's always held place in my mind with Little Big Man. It's the driving one that continues to fascinate me, and how I would use with teenage students who are skeptical of the establishment, so to speak. And that is my book talk for ENH 292 Historical Fiction under Ann Burns. Little Big Man, a novel by Thomas Berger. Read it. There's a lot more in it than just Crab and Custer. There's Wild Bill Hickok, William Cody, and many of the other old Western figures in a whole new light. Check it out.